What's good, everyone? This is Anton Campbell back for another review. Today it's a spoiler-free review of Aquaman. First of all, I'm gonna apologize from now, just in case I start coughing. um, Coming off the tail end of this flu. But anyway, let's get going. First of all, Aquaman. I'm a big Marvel and DC fan. My personal favorite out of Marvel and DC is DC. I think that's always happened because when I used to live in Jamaica, my dad used to bring back lots of comics from the US. So from a young age, that's some of the first stuff I was exposed to even before anime, and I'm a very big anime fan. Also, I'm a fan of all the DC animated films. I am also of Marvel, but I feel like there's more DC films, and yeah, that's my personal preference. But anyway, let's get on to Aquaman. Sorry. So it was released in 2018 to end of 2018. Let's see. First of all, the first thing I noticed from like opening scenes was the use of water. Um, Something like Aquaman. People like to joke about Aquaman and him being like a can talk to fish and these things, and not really taking him seriously because he's underwater. But the whole scenery, some of the cinematography and the effects, just how the water was used in the sea and also above ground. I think they used it very well, especially seeing as water is something that has a lot of volatility. It can just change. It's always changing, always flowing. It was great to see that. Amazing. Next thing I would say, for all my what would you say, mythologists, historians, whether you believe in Atlantis or not, it was good to see something that has not only a mythology based in just comic books, but based in our general mythology in the world itself. In terms of was Atlantis real or not, the sunken city, which came from higher technology, things like that. So I feel like, yeah, regardless if you think that Atlantis only come from the comic books, or if you've heard of Atlantis outside, what can I say, modern day fictional material, it was definitely great to see Atlantis on the big screen, especially as someone that's black, and all the talks of like Kemet and Lemuria, things like that, high technology and ancient civilizations. I guess regardless if you're black or white, whatever, it doesn't matter. But it was great to see Atlantis as the focal point of such a big piece of media, millions of people watching and seeing all this the mythology and how they expressed Atlantis on the big screen. For example, the size of the city and the scales, the statues, the technology, um the culture, Atlantean culture itself, how it was based around you can say spiritual development and not just like a monetary world. That was definitely great to see. One of the next thing, yeah, the next thing I'd like to mention is the age of power reveals and their implications. So we see Aquaman's powers revealed at a certain age here. I'm not gonna say which one because we're still trying to stay spoiler free, but I will say that I like how these movies have different power age reveals because it kind of shows you the development of these characters in different ways, different paths. For example, if a character has a power reveal at a later stage in life, you never know. Sometimes they might not even want to be a hero because they already have their certain life set up, or maybe that's just the change they were looking for. Or if it was a character with a young power reveal, it could you can see how a child deals with being supernatural and having being different from the rest of humanity, how they go about controlling their powers, especially if they're young. So I feel like that was definitely a great part to see in this film. Yeah, it's really, really good to see it like that. Implications, yeah, the implications, for example, the psychological development of heroes and their stories in general. I feel like Aquaman, this film spent a good amount of time showing that on a decent scale. Next one, this one's really different. You know, inner Earth theories. Again with Atlantis, sunken city, things like that. Yeah, I feel like the movie and the mythology itself has lots of applications. You know, inside our just normal culture. Um, our day-to-day culture, I would say, and also within the DC universe. So yeah, if you want to comment, talk about if what you think about inner Earth theories, sunken cities, ancient civilizations, with superior technology, let me know. Next. Yeah, the Atlantean culture and technology. It was, as you can probably see from the trailers. Well, I hope you've seen. Well, if you've seen some of the technology stuff from the trailers, that'll be good. But I would just like to say that Atlantean culture and technology was just, it was done so well. Even though I feel like some of the jokes made about Aquaman are done tongue in cheek. Like I'd never joke about Aquaman because I feel like he's a very good superhero. For example, they say he's as strong as Superman when it comes to being in water. I don't really joke about them, but I can understand if people just make a joke about Aquaman. You know, it's just a joke. But it was great to see the culture and the technology, how they live underwater, just how just seeing that whole world was just amazing to see. I think it was done very, very well here. And also I just like to drop in that you know, I really love DC and I'm a great fan of Marvel, and I would agree by saying that Marvel's done a more structured job, probably, yeah, a better job at building their cinematic universe. Also, I'd like to say with DC, I think part of their the reason why they're not highly regarded as Marvel, other than not starting as soon as them, is probably their storytelling, how they've decided to drop these movies. So, for example, if Aquaman came before Superman versus Batman, and I think that would have been great. For example, if they'd done an order like Aquaman first, and then Superman, and then Batman versus Superman, and then Justice League, I feel like that would have been a great order. But you know, these billion-dollar companies, I guess it's just timing, really. You know, when they decided to start the story, maybe they wanted to have enough characters on screen with like Superman, Batman versus Superman, to compete with other films. Yeah. What else do we have here? We have the diversity of sea dwellers. You know, that was absolutely crazy. You know, seeing the different species, just seeing the different races of sea dwellers, it just opened my eyes. I don't remember ever seeing anything like that in the comics or the animated films. You know, if it's there, I've probably just missed it. But it was amazing to see. I'm not gonna describe these different races. It was just amazing to see. I think that's one of my favorite parts of the film. These writers, man, and these animators, great to see that diversity. Just another angle I did not expect for Aquaman, this film. Next up, let's see. Yeah, opening up the DC universe. So, I don't remember if there were any trailers inside, any trailers that shown where Aquaman takes some of the history and some of the times that are shown in the film. However, sorry, I'd like to say that I hope that this opens up the universe for people like Thanagarians, you know, Hawk Girl, Hawkman. They would have shown. I feel like the platform that Aquaman has done is very similar to like the Thanagarian visually, culturally, in terms of the links between the humans and Thanagarians and the history on planet Earth. I think that would be great to see. I feel, yeah, another thing, Aquaman, it helps shows that there's a lot of potential for all the heroes in the DC universe. You never know. Team DC could it could probably catch up to Marvel, especially seeing as Marvel is approaching its peak. Even though it will be extending this universe, I guess by DC starting its journey later, it's we have a whole DC journey to see. Next, power scaling underwater. That was something that was also great to see. There's always a talk about Aquaman is the strongest Superman when it comes to being underwater, and I think in this one, he can. There are cases for certain power scaling arguments, certain feats that Aquaman has done, and the other the Atlanteans and sea dwellers, their strength, their speed. It was great to see, very great to see. Also, another big seller of this film, this one going to be my last point, Mr. Patrick Wilson. He also played I think it was Owlman in Watchmen. Great actor. I feel like he played Ocean Master very well. His diction, his voice, how he portrayed himself, very believable, kept intensity, but it was also a thing where, when it comes to bad guys and villains, I feel like sometimes we as fans, when we see bad guy, we're like bad guy, bad guy, bad guy. When we see hero, we're like hero, hero, hero. But when you change up the perspective of things, and when you try to think of where other people are coming from and this point of view, Patrick Wilson, I think he made a very good character, whether we want to call him a villain or not, and a lot of his things are just very valid. Yeah, Patrick Wilson, you were one of the key points of me. So my key points of this film are the use of water, cinematography and graphic design. Oh, sorry, what's it? Special effects. Age of Power reveal and their implications and developments of heroes. The link between the past and the present, how the film switch between, how the film switches between just the whole scenes and why they put in certain memories at certain points. Next major point is the diversity of the sea dwellers, amazing Atlantean culture, opening the universe for Thanagarians, power scaling, and Mr. Patrick Wilson. So yeah, what can I say, man? I will give this film a solid 5 out of 5 stars. No complaints about this film. Amazing writing, acting, visuals. Go see it, go support it. And yeah, man, I hope you pick any points and let's have a little chat. Bye.